Starting with the newest additions to the Venusaur roster, the Mega Venusaur EX in the Mega Evolution set. This card actually got 3 different versions. One of them is the regular print of Mega Venusaur EX with the brand new design for Mega cards, which I think are kinda cool. The second one is the ultra rare full art print of Mega Venusaur, which also has a brand new design featuring both Mega Venusaur and a regular Venusaur. And then finally we got the special illustration rare version, which looks awesome. It's so vibrant and colourful. The creators of the full art and regular version of these cards were 5-band graphics, while the SIR version was created by Mashu. We also got a regular print for Venusaur EX in Stellar Crown. This card was a promotional card in Japan, so they had to add it into an English set as well, so they added it in Stellar Crown. This card was illustrated by Saki Hayashiro. EX versions of Venusaur have been pretty popular so far this generation, as we also got 3 versions of special Venusaur cards inside the Kanto expansion of 151. This set once again came with 3 versions of Venusaur, the regular EX print, the full art EX print, and of course the really cool jungle themed special illustration rare, featuring Venusaur inside a jungle full of plants. This is probably one of my favourite modern Venusaur cards. The regular and full art versions of these cards were once again designed by 5-band graphics. Meanwhile, the SIR version was created by Yoriyuki Ikegami. That does it for the Scarlet and Violet era of Venusaur cards. We have a lot of Venusaur cards coming through the list today, but I just wanted to take a quick stop and say thank you for all the support recently on the channel, and if you do enjoy these videos, please subscribe. Let's get back to Venusaurs. So let's move back into Sword and Shield, where Venusaur gets his first shiny card of the video, the Radiant Venusaur from Pokemon Go. This is my favourite card from the Pokemon Go set, not because I just love Venusaur, but because I love how the shiny effect of Venusaur compares to the background of roses and flowers. This card was illustrated by Misa Tsutsui. Fun fact, in China this card actually has a completely different design, because China does not have Pokemon Go. They had to create a very different Radiant Venusaur card for the Brave Stars expansion. Venusaur would also get a regular card in the Pokemon Go expansion to go alongside its Radiant version, with this card being illustrated by Keiichiro Ito. Let's jump back a lot of sets now, to the promotional Venusaur VMAX, found within the Venusaur VMAX Battle Box. Inside of this box we got both a regular print of this card and then the Jumbo version as well. These cards were created by CG Works and are pretty good for a Venusaur VMAX, based of course on the Gigantamax version from the Sword and Shield games. We also got a promotional Venusaur V card within the V Battle Deck Venusaur vs Blastoise. The Battle Deck cards are actually really good, and I like how they are unique to these cheap starter decks to get people into the TCG. And this card is also illustrated by CG Works. In fact, China also had a unique version of this card as well, that actually got a full art print. Venusaur did not actually feature in any non-special sets during the Sword and Shield era, as the only fully released V card we would get for Venusaur was found in Champion's Path, illustrated by Planeta Mochizuki. Of course, there is a reason that Pokemon took a break with Venusaur in the Sword and Shield era, with a lot of Venusaur appearing throughout the Sun and Moon expansions, starting with the Black Star promo for Venusaur and Snivy GX. Found within the Tag Team Generations Premium Collection, we got an alternate art version of this card, created by Yuka Mori. This is the only alternate art that Venusaur and Snivy GX ever got. Before the release of the alternate art, we got 3 versions of Venusaur and Snivy GX, found within the Sun and Moon expansion Cosmic Eclipse. We got the regular print, illustrated by Mitsuhiro Arita once again, a full art print by the team at 5-band graphics, as well as a Rainbow Rare version, also created by 5-band graphics. Venusaur would not only be teaming up with Snivy in these expansions though, as in Sun and Moon Team Up we got the various Celebi and Venusaur GX cards. But just after this set was released, we also got a Black Star promo for this team up that was also an alternate art. I really don't know why they released the alternate art versions in promotional collections, but this card is very cool, so I can't be too mad at it. This card was illustrated by Shin Nagasawa. However, found within Team Up we got the same 3 cards for Celebi and Venusaur GX, starting with the regular print, created by Mitsuhiro Arita, then the full art print created by 5-band graphics, and then finally the Rainbow Rare print, also created by 5-band graphics. And then finally Venusaur would get a regular version found within the Shining Legends expansion. This card is actually a pretty cool 3D render of Venusaur, created by SK Yoshinobu, which wraps up our time in the Sun and Moon sets. So let's move back into the X and Y era of Pokemon cards, where Venusaur got quite a few cards. Starting with the special set X and Y Generations, Venusaur would get 2 cards within this set, the Mega Venusaur EX, which was the second version of Mega Venusaur we ever saw in the TCG. This card was illustrated by 5-band wideband graphics. I kinda missed the old designs for mega cards with the Japanese text over the card. They were just so cool and epic. And then Venusaur would also get the regular EX version in this set as well, which honestly looks a little bit goofy, but still somehow quite intimidating. Credit to the artist SK Yoshinobu for making a card that somehow combines both. Just before Generations, Mega Venusaur would also get 2 more cards found in the X and Y Evolution set. One of these was the regular EX print, once again with the very cool old style for Mega Pokemon, and then a full art print of the same card, which honestly looks even better, with both of these being illustrated by 5-band graphics. However, Venusaur would also get a regular EX print in the Evolution set, based on the older card styles from the original series of Pokemon cards. SK Yoshinobu really did a great job of making an EX card in the older style of Pokemon cards. Venusaur would also get 2 promotional prints in between Evolutions and X and Y base. The first card could be found in the EX Red and Blue Collection special box, containing Generations packs. This card features an alternate art version of Venusaur EX, based on the X and Y cards. This card is one of the best modern Venusaur cards, illustrated by Naoki Saito. There would also be an exclusive to Japan version of this card that featured a gold border. Before this, Venusaur would also get a promotional card found within the EX Power Trio tins, specifically the Venusaur tin. I don't really have much to say about this one, it's just a different variation of the regular EX from X and Y base set, which is where our final 2 cards come from for the X and Y era, with both a regular EX print from X and Y base created by SK Yoshinobu, and then the full art version illustrated by Ryo Ueda. Venusaur would not get any special cards during the Black and White era of Pokemon cards, however it did get a regular print version in the Dark Explorers expansion. This card is illustrated by Masakazu Fukuda. If you have watched previous videos on the channel, you will know there is one set of Pokemon cards I want to eventually get a master collection of, the Pokemon Rumble cards. I love the Pokemon Rumble games. Even to this day, I think I spent the most time in Pokemon Rumble out of any Pokemon game. And this Venusaur Pokemon Rumble card is by far my favorite Venusaur card, of course being completely unbiased. The Pokemon Rumble cards do not have any actual illustrators, as the models are just ripped from the Pokemon Rumble games. Venusaur would also get a card in the Pokemon Platinum set Supreme Victors, which featured a lot of iconic cards, such as the shiny Milotic Holo Rare, that one of my friends has a destroyed version of. I just love to bring this up knowing he will watch this. The Venusaur found within Supreme Victors was honestly quite a cool design, illustrated by Kuki Saito. I like to collect damaged versions of old Pokemon cards. Some people will spend a lot of money on collecting older Pokemon cards, but I just want to build fun decks and own them. And that is why when I found the Secret Wonders Venusaur card, I knew I had to pick it up. This card is one of my favourite older Venusaur cards, illustrated by Kazuyuki Kana. One of the best designed Venusaur cards ever though is definitely the Crystal Guardians Venusaur. This Venusaur has everything. A great pose that looks intimidating, mixed in with the background of various flowers and plants. The older cards really had a lot more soul than the newer modern Venusaur cards, I think. This card was illustrated by Hajime Kusajima. Finally, after ages, we have another shiny Venusaur themed Pokemon card, found in Pop Series 2. This Venusaur, illustrated by Mitsuhiro Arita, features a shiny version of everyone's favourite frog. Do you know the Venusaur did not receive a special card between EX Fire Red and Leaf Green and X and Y? As this Venusaur EX was the first EX card we would ever get for Venusaur, and also the only one throughout 3 regions of Pokemon. I feel like Pokemon often focuses much more on Charizard, and as such Venusaur can often get left behind. But this card, designed by Ryo Ueda, was a great EX card to tie Venusaur over for almost a decade. Venusaur really didn't get that many cards in Generation 3 though. Thankfully we would get way more in Generation 2 and 1. There is one Venusaur card that was created to deliberately sabotage the Pokemon brand. Wizards of the Coast were pretty heavily screwed over by Pokemon when their contract was suddenly cancelled after the E-card set. And so knowing that their contract was about to be cancelled, Wizards of the Coast released the Best of Games Special Collection, which featured various cards, all of which had some pretty glaring errors, such as the Dark Venusaur card. Now, I can't actually find what this error is, so maybe the Dark Venusaur card got away with it, but this special set was notorious for having lots of errors. There were also 2 other versions of this card, one with a winner tag, which was given out at events in the West, and then a jumbo version of this same card. Venusaur also got cards within Expedition base set, where we got 3 Venusaur cards, which is a little bit insane given none of these were technically special cards. First, we had Venusaur 67 out of 165, illustrated by Atsuko Misihita. Then we had Venusaur 68 out of 165 by Shinichi Toshikawa. And then finally we had Venusaur 30 out of 165, which was the holo version of the previous card, back when holos were separate in set numbers. Venusaur would also get a Cosmos Hollow box topper promotional version as well. Venusaur would get another promotional card, which is kind of interesting. To celebrate the release of the TCG Game Boy game, Pokemon added various new cards to the game to hype up these cards eventually being released physically, with this Venusaur promo being connected to that game. If you haven't played the TCG Game Boy game, I would really suggest it, as it is really quite fun. Then we have the first special card that Venusaur ever got, Erica's Venusaur. I personally like this card, but I have a very interesting thought. Why on earth is this Venusaur so off-centered on the card? Actually, why are most of the Gym Challenge cards like this? Which finally brings us to the original Venusaur card. This card has appeared throughout various sets in the history of the TCG. It most recently appeared in the Pokemon Trading Card Game Classic Collection. Before that, it appeared in the Celebrations Classic set. Then before even that, it appeared in the Legendary Collection. However, these cards were all based on the cards found in base set, which of course also bled into base set 2. With this Venusaur being from base set 2, and then of course, finally, we are at base set, where Venusaur made his first ever appearance in the TCG. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing.